attacks. Jews deserve security in every country, but we have to say our Jewish brothers and sisters, Israel is your home.
To eastern Ukraine now, where a ceasefire between government soldiers and pro-Russia separatists appears to be holding. Leaders from France and Germany describe the truce as generally being observed, but there has been sporadic shelling in the contested town of Debaltseve. Charles Stratford reports.
Separatist fighters guard their positions close to the front line. The fighting has been intense here in recent weeks. The situation may be calmer in other areas of this region since the ceasefire was called, but the shelling continues not far from here. We're in the separatist-controlled town of Wroglegorsk. It is one of the closest towns to Debaltseve. Now we're hearing both incoming and outgoing shelling, and that's despite this call for a truce. The separatists won't let us film their firing positions.
5 minutes after the ceasefire began, the Ukrainian army started firing towards us and towards residential buildings. Some people still live there, especially older people. I'm not sure how many died. We informed them in advance if they fired first, we would respond, and that's why we are firing.
The fighters say the heavily fought-over town of Debaltseve is not included in the ceasefire deal. The Ukrainian military say the separatists started the shelling after the truce began. A few kilometers back from the front line around Debaltseve, these men aren't fighting for the first time in weeks. They use the opportunity to train. Many of these volunteers had never used weapons like this until recently. They tell us to crouch down behind their makeshift glass wall before they throw their grenades. The tanks aim at targets in a distant field. There is a deep distrust of the Ukrainian army here.
We are training because it's a ceasefire, not a truce. There have been many ceasefires before. We don't believe in them anymore. Ukrainians have already broken them many times.
To Al Jazeera journalists,
he's educated but struggles with the lack of opportunity in India. So if the Silver Star, Sri Lanka represents a new start.
If the governments of both countries help me financially, if they give me land and help me to build a house, I will go home to Sri Lanka.
Silver Star and tens of thousands like him live in more than 100 open camps spread across Tamil Nadu. They can stay here, but they don't enjoy the same rights as Indian citizens. For most people, deciding whether to stay or go is the easy part. The biggest challenge many refugees living in camps like this face is getting the right documentation to lead a good life, regardless of where they choose to call home. Going back is often a complicated process, especially for those whose children were born in India.
The birth certificate and citizenship certificates are essential documents, and your preparedness is hampered. And then...
For 4.5 centuries, this city, like so many...
Adequate public services. All this as it prepares to host the Olympic Games next year. But local and Olympic Committee officials believe the Games will help transform the city.
Barcelona was a landmark as a city that became a global icon after the Games. Rio wants to do the same.
Construction is underway everywhere you look to build a new metro and rapid bus system. To the renewal of Rio's once majestic but run-down colonial port area. Improvements are causing major traffic congestion and other inconveniences. A sacrifice many welcome.
Everything that helps to lift Rio's image is to be applauded. We had a very bad image for many years, but it is improving.
With authorities expecting nearly 1 million visitors in just the next 4 days, Rio has earned its reputation as a city for mega events. But as it celebrates its birthday, Rio's challenge is to overcome complex obstacles towards development without losing its unique flavor. Newman, Al Jazeera, Rio de Janeiro.
the new Alps wind and snow has made its way to the New England coast and the US. The state of Maine was one of the hardest hit, with some areas receiving nearly 1 metre since snow began to fall on Saturday. Similar amounts have been recorded in the state of Massachusetts. Hello again, I'm Elizabeth Barana with the headlines on Al Jazeera. A video apparently showing the killing of 21 Egyptian Christians has been released by the Islamic State of Iraq and Levant. The migrant workers were killed in Libya after being kidnapped by a group loyal to ISIL. Al Jazeera English doesn't show hostage videos released by armed groups. Before the apparent confirmation of their deaths, families of the victims gathered in Cairo to demand their release. The Egyptian President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi has called an emergency meeting with the National Defense Council. 7 days of mourning has also been announced.
Egypt does not only defend itself, but the whole region. Egypt will react in the right time. We will keep following the situation and we will discuss how we will react in due time. Egyptians will not be allowed to go to Libya, and we will do our best to evacuate Egyptians living there. I've asked the Foreign Minister to immediately travel to New York to discuss these issues and to hold the international community responsible for what's happening in Libya.
A video has emerged of the moment after a man was shot at a cafe in Denmark's capital on Saturday. Police have killed the suspect who carried out the attack. One person died in that shooting. The suspect is also believed to have targeted a synagogue, killing a guard. The UN Security Council wants Houthi rebels in Yemen to give up their control of the country. It's voting in favor of a resolution calling for the release of the president being kept under house arrest. The leaders from the Shia minority took power in a coup earlier this month. A ceasefire between government forces and Ukrainian government forces and pro-Russia separatists appears to be holding in eastern Ukraine, but there's been sporadic shelling reported in the contested town of Debaltseve. Suicide bombing has killed 10 people in northeastern Nigeria. Police say a woman detonated a bomb at a crowded bus station in Damaturu in Yobe State. 32 other people were wounded. And thousands of Kurds have rallied in towns across Turkey's southeast. The region is largely Kurdish, and protesters were calling for the release of rebel leader Abdullah Öcalan. Those are the headlines. Listing Post is up next.
There's no downtime at the stream, on air or online. We tackle news and stories that
held by its private bank in Switzerland. Then the French newspaper Le Monde got its hands on the data, along with a second group. Le Monde's editors brought in the ICIJ, the International Consortium of Investigative Journalists. Now, typically, news organizations don't like to share their scoops, but Le Monde needed help. It wanted the consortium to assemble a global reporting team, given the scale of the story, the number of countries affected, and the political implications. The logic was that the more reporters covering it, with their varied vantage points, the better. This is a story about money. It involves news organizations, most of which are shrinking, teaming up to take on a behemoth in the world of banking. Our starting point this week is Jason. We've seen journalistic collaborations before. In 2010, it was WikiLeaks working with The Guardian in the UK, The New York Times, and Der Spiegel. Then came Edward Snowden in 2013. Once again, The Guardian was at the heart of it with some different partners. However, the scale of this collaboration over the HSBC story, the number of news outlets and journalists involved, is unprecedented.
It is an extraordinary moment from a journalistic perspective, both from the substance of what they were able to obtain, the explosive nature of some of the documents that they were able to publish, and also the scope and the extent of the amount of material that they obtained and be able to sort through.
The document dump, even pertaining to India, had thousands of pages, so it is phenomenal amount of information that we have got.
We built a virtual newsroom of all of these reported around the world, and we also built encrypted systems to allow them to look at all of the documents from their laptops or from home or from their offices. So we're all basically working together.
This is a complicated story that took years to fully break. In 2007, an IT specialist at